Pozdrav svima i dobrodošli u novo izdanje podcasta Time Out. Naš današnji gost biće košarkaš Baskonije. Činimo neki. So, how are you doing? Are you good? Do you feel good?
No, horrible. Life sucks right now. That's basketball. Basketball sucks right now. We're losing. I hate it. You know. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you the fake answer and say, yeah, everything's good, you know.
But you know, like Chima, it's double round again, a lot of games, so don't be in a bad mood. You know that everything can change. Basketball is crazy, it had a crazy schedule, so everything can change in 3-4 rounds. So don't be like, you need to be strong, man. You need it's difficult. It's difficult, I know. Thank you so much and thanks for being here with us. I'm very happy to have this conversation with you, you know, and I was a little bit nervous, I need to say this, because I have in front of me not only a basketball player, but someone like that is doing my job in a certain way. So like the first thing I wanted to ask you about the vlog, why you started to do this?
Um, First off, yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I think I've known for a long time that I have, a personality that's engaging, and I've always thought that I would do well with YouTube, but my focus was always basketball, and I didn't want to just start making, bad quality videos. And then last year, my videographer, it just came together perfectly. It was time, and we just started. I didn't really have any expectations of, growth or whatever, but seeing how much people appreciated it and loved it, it gave me motivation, and now it's like it's something I look forward to. And then the last reason is just to help the EuroLeague grow. I think the EuroLeague should definitely have way more recognition than it does, and I'm just trying to do my part, to help that.
I can see that you're feeling very comfortable in front of the camera. And you know what I like, that you're a player and you're interviewing your colleagues. So only a player can understand like a player, and that's great. So what's the thing that you like the most about it?
Everything. I feel like I like giving people a platform to speak. I like getting to know my fellow players and my fellow coaches and ex-players and things like that. And I think the best part is the response I get from, people who are early in their careers or struggling in their careers, like I was. At one point, nobody knew who I was and nobody cared about me. And I still had these dreams that, now I'm living. So whenever I get messages from, athletes that are in second division or third division, or young kids that struggle with confidence, I feel like that's the best part.
Do you like to hear other stories?
Yeah, of course, 1,000%. Life is hard. Life is hard. People are going through a lot of things, and whenever someone says that me just sharing my story or posting a video made their day better, like, it feels unreal. So I'm gonna continue to do that.
Yeah, we are similar from this point of view. I like to hear your stories, guys, because I always said that you're not only a number behind the jersey, you're people with amazing stories and with an amazing journey. So, what's your story, Chima? How everything started with basketball?
My story it would take 10 years to say, but it was football. It was football at first. I wanted to be, a football player like the Brazilian Ronaldo. He was my first, celebrity influence, and JJ Okocha, my favorite Nigerian player. And then it turned into Ronaldo. But yeah, I wanted to be a football player, and that was my goal. The only thing I ever wanted to do. I grew up traveling, and we we traveled to Turkey, we traveled to Switzerland, Nigeria, Australia. But when we came back to Australia in 2009, I went to high school, and like my group of friends were like, "Yo, like, why don't you play basketball?" I was the tallest in my group, and at that point, I started to watch basketball already, because of LeBron and LeBron only. But I didn't really have a desire to play, and that changed, I guess, from then. And I started playing, and I wasn't that good, but yeah, my focus just switched.
And what was the reaction of your family? Because I read that they wanted you to be a doctor, a lawyer, right?
Yeah, so like my childhood wasn't normal. I traveled so much, which is not, not everyone gets to travel. My parents were diplomats. But also at several points in my life, my childhood, I was not living with my mom or not living with my dad or living without both of them and just being with my brother. So at that point, when I moved back to Australia and I started playing basketball, my parents were in Switzerland and I wasn't living with them anymore. So I was living with my oldest brother, going to school, working a job. So I had freedom to do what I wanted to do. But I communicated with them like, hey, like I'm taking this basketball thing seriously. At that time, I wasn't even thinking about playing professionally. Like the goal was to get a scholarship. And, if I knew that if I told them, I got a scholarship, you guys don't have to pay for university, then they would be on board. And that was like my first big goal that I worked towards and I achieved. When I did that, they were on board and I wasn't living with them, so they kind of had no choice.
So you grew up a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I've always said like I'm a jokey person. I like to have fun. I like to smile. But I would say by 21, really 22, I felt like yeah, I knew for a fact most 22-year-olds were not thinking the way I was thinking. I was thinking ahead. I was making plans. I was very organized. I definitely matured way, way faster.
And I would like to talk about this first experience in Europe because you came to France, right?
I knew what I was getting into, and I knew that this was a step I had to take to get to EuroLeague and NBA and all of that stuff. So I was locked in terms of like culture, living in another country. The only shock was I got cut, after 3 games in my first year in second division. So I was just like, man, so if I'm getting cut in second division, how the hell am I going to play in the EuroLeague or in the NBA one day? So that was the only shock. But in terms of living cultures, no, not really.
Everybody says that the first year or the first 2, 3 years are the toughest when you become a professionist, a professional athlete. So was that for you the same?
My first year was the toughest. My first year was tough, um, because I got cut. But this current year it has been the toughest for sure. Yeah.
The turning point of your career? That was a great season. I mean, you helped a lot the team, and you were even the MVP, right? Of the BCL that
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Wow.
yeah, that's like that's obviously the best moment of my career. That's the best season of my career, the happiest moment of my career. Like, yeah, whenever I'm sad, I watch videos from that time just to remember how good life was. And yeah, everything was just perfect. Everything was perfect. I went through struggles early that made me, appreciate the good times. But like the team was just perfect, man. The team was built the right way. Um, yeah, I miss everything about that season. And yeah, it was the turning point because it was my first year playing European competition. The first 3 years in France, I was just playing in France, so Europe didn't really know me. So I started to make a name for myself, and obviously I went to the NBA from that season, which is still crazy, but yeah, greatest season of my career.
So actually, I wanted to ask you, how do you recharge yourself when you're in a bad mood? And you actually answered to that. You said that when you are not in the best mood, you're watching like videos from this moment, and that's cool. So, but now, okay, it's time to make new good moments, and with Baskonia, you can do it, guys. You have a talented team, so who knows?
Who knows?
So, what do you think actually now about the other teams in the EuroLeague?
Yeah, I think that it's very competitive. We know that. Um, I do think that 2 seasons ago was tougher. The year I was in Monaco, I felt like that year there was 6 or 7 teams. There was 7 teams, in my opinion, that genuinely could have won the EuroLeague. And I feel like, yeah, this season is, before the season, everyone was saying Olympiacos and Panathinaikos would be like clear 1 and 2. And, Paris is first right now. So I would say that, yeah, I feel like the core of it, majority of the teams are around the same level, which will make it very, very hard and tough to get a playing spot, get a playoff spot. And every like losses, all these losses, it'll add up and it'll affect your standing. You could drop from sixth to eighth because of a bad loss. So I would say in terms of the overall, I feel like most teams are closer to each other than in past years, but there's not as many clear-cut contenders this season.
Hmm. So I said before that a lot of roster change. We saw Partizan that was completely rebuilt. And I wanted to ask you about Baskonia, but first of all, I have a question. What do you think about the basketball audience here in Serbia?
I would say that yeah, I'm a player that loves people that are passionate, that care. And obviously everyone you ask any player, they will mention, the Serbian teams, first and then the Greek teams. So yeah, I appreciate fans like that because every time I play there, you feel something different in your body that just makes you, ready to play, excited. You may not even be able to hear your teammates at times, but it's like, yeah, that's the type of environment that, people want to see, people want to be around, obviously. I love all my supporters in Serbia, genuinely, like they're amazing. They're great people. I've gotten to know, several Serbian people. I've had Serbian teammates, in Australia in high school, obviously in Baskonia last season. And yeah, I love their mentality. I love their personality. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of Serbians, and I can't see the future. But yeah, I think yeah, I appreciate everything that Serbia stands for.
But you work with Duško Ivanovic.
Yeah, honestly, like the version of Dushko that I played for was not the stories that I heard about him in the past were scary and clearly like he had changed, he had adapted a little bit. Um, his practices were hard, but they weren't the hardest practices of my career. So, I'm glad I didn't play for the other version of Dushko that everyone tells stories about. But Dushko knows basketball. Like he genuinely knows basketball, and his philosophies are his philosophies. I think it's like it's his way and it's how he wants to do things, and that works for certain teams and it works for certain players. But that's how he does it. I respect him because he knows basketball, and yeah, that's not yeah, definitely he knows basketball.
Like you work with a lot of coaches, but it's difficult to choose one person. Like who's the coach that shaped you as a player?
I wouldn't shape me. I think it's two different coaches. I think the coach that shaped me the most was my assistant coach when I was in university, John O. Metzger Jones. He's family to me now. So like he shaped me as a person in that way. And then I would say the coach that had the biggest impact on me as a player since I've been in Europe is my coach in Manresa, Pedro Martinez. He was very tough. He was very like those were the hardest practices. Those were we played fast, but for you to play fast, you have to be in shape and you have to like practice like that every day. And practices were hard and I didn't see his vision at the start, but like when we got on the same page in like early November, late October, early November, it was like it was incredible. And then you could see that we started to influence each other. You know, he started to let loose a little bit more and let guys have fun and yeah, he's amazing. Like I Pedro Martinez for sure, the guy, the guy.
Great. I need to be honest, I got inspired by your vlog. So now one question. If you need to say thank you to one person, who's that person?
No, no, you can't do that. You can't say that for me. You can't say that.
I
Can't say that.
I took even another thing. When you need to do, okay, you need to do the this or that game.
This or that is better. This or that is better. We'll do this or that. Go ahead.
Okay, but can you tell me only why this question? Would you rather lose one hand or one foot?
For me, I would easily rather lose one hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I think walking, walking normally is like the thing we take for granted the most. So yeah, lose one hand.
Okay, second question, Chima. You ready?
I'm ready.
Vanja Marinkovic or Ognjen Jaramaz?
Vanya Marinkovic.
Why?
Um, I love Vanya. Like I spent a year with Vanya. Um, he's crazy. He's crazy, but like I love his crazy, and he's hilarious.
Okay. EuroLeague or NBA?
EuroLeague,
Okay. Partizan or Zvezda?
Baskonia.
That's
Wait. Second chance. Which one has the best atmosphere during the games? Partizan or Zvezda?
I said Partizan before, so yeah, Partizan.
So, Chima, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And I wish a lot of luck out there. And see you in Belgrade next time you're gonna play against the Serbian teams. To je sve za ovo izdanje našeg podcasta. Ja se nadam da ste uživali u ovom razgovoru, a mi se vidimo sljedećeg četvrtka.